Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Got the guys back together again. Hope you had a good week off, Tariq.
I did, and then when I left town, the Bills came into town, so that led to all this excitement.
Yeah, they called him. Tariq's gone. Come on in. It'll be a good time now.
Sneak the team into town. Good to see you again. Pat, what do you got?
The strangest first-round pick maybe in the history of the Bills. You had Marshawn Lynch. You had Fred Jackson. You had a young quarterback. So with a top 10 pick, you take running back C.J. Spiller out of Clemson, who was, safe to say, a disappointment.
Just sort of those names, yes. You put those names together, and it just reminds us of how bad things used to be.
Yeah, you
ain't kidding. Chaos.
You mean to tell me you couldn't find the J.P. Lossman jersey?
Oh, no, I have like 4 J.P. Lossman. I have a game-worn J.P. Lossman jersey.
Oh, really?
And he's worn them here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's always an occasion for that.
I didn't know money could go negative.
Tariq, let's talk baseball. Trading deadline comes up on Tuesday. It's nice to me, this is one of the more interesting ones because all the heavy hitters, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Astros, teams with money and a willingness to spend and have great teams already, these are the guys who are gonna scoop up all the best players.
Well, I mean, you got so I've never seen it so much so that it's top-notch players that are available. I mean, National Soto. I mean, now I just hear about Shohan being available too. I've never seen this many top-notch players available at the draft. Usually, guys just say, "Okay, let's shut them down after 3 to 4 weeks after the trading deadline. That's good. We'll work something out there in the offseason." Now it seems as if they're kind of like, you know what? We're terrible. We're going to stink. We're going to stink for the next 3 to 4 months. Let's see if we can get some draft picks. Let's see if we can get some players in here. Let's get rid of some weight and then see where these guys go. Plus, players are more vocal about not wanting to stay in a place where they're not going to win and they're not gelling well with management. So I like it. I mean, it's almost as if you have the offseason, but you have nothing but trade talk for the last 2 months.
And it's this thing, too, about competitive balance in baseball. Again, all the big teams are separating themselves from all the small teams. And then I have to think as a backdrop is what Atlanta did last year when they lost their best player, Acuna, and decided, screw it. Yeah. We're still going for it and wind up as World Series champions.
Well, that's what's so interesting about, like, the belief for, 80 years in baseball, 100 years was, if we have to be the best team, and we have to go get all these pieces to have a shot. No, I mean, you know what a crapshoot the baseball playoffs are. You know how one off night can change an entire, playoff series. I will say this, man, with Shohei Ohtani, if he ends up in a major East Coast market, he will be the most popular baseball player of the last 25 years. Do you guys disagree?
No, because you can make a case he is now.
I mean, but here's the thing. He's playing on the West Coast 3-4 hours after everybody's already gone to sleep. You put him in Boston. You put him in New York. You put him in Toronto, for God's sake.
All right, be the Angels for a minute. How does that work for you?
I don't know why they're doing it. I don't understand it unless they think that things with Trout physically have gone so south that they're just going to hit the reset button on everything. Because when you have that kind of talent, why are you trading this kind of talent? It's very confusing to me.
I think they're going in a totally different direction. I think they're going to shut everything down. I don't think this really works for them. They've tried to get the big name player. It's never really worked out. They tried to get the big name pitcher. It's never really worked out. I think they're just going to totally retool shop. But to your point, in a sense, I would ask for everything. I would ask for every farmhand you got, every young player under the age of 23. I would go and rebuild that team a little bit faster in 4 years by getting rid of Shohei.
Now you got giddy about the idea that the Mets might get him.
Well, the fact that he said no to the Yankees and that he would go to the Mets, now with the Mets' money and their prestige right now in baseball, I love.
But then you've got a team that's already winning. It's getting better with DeGrom pitching in Syracuse, and he's on the way back. Scherzer's been great. Why mess with it?
I'll tell you why. They need a big bat, he can hit, and they need a big arm, he can pitch.
Okay, yeah. Look, man, based on the Mets' history, there is nothing horribly tragic about to happen with a guy that can throw and hit in a community. No, you know this will end badly. You don't need it. DeGrom is essentially an acquisition at the trade deadline. You don't have to give up any pieces. I'm standing pat if I'm the Mets. I am.
Well, anyway, it's going to be fascinating. The trade deadline is Tuesday, and I'm really looking forward to it, even though, my guys aren't involved unless it's selling off parts.
Well, no,
it's tough.
Actually, I heard the Blue Jays just scored 4 more runs than you guys.
28-5. What a great way to start the second half. This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills next. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box, and welcome back. This portion, the Buffalo Bills portion, brought to you by Ralph Honda, celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. Pat, I went into training camp down at St. John Fisher University. You know, what just strikes me is that, first of all, and you documented last week, the whole thing is sold out largely by people who have season tickets and have got access to these tickets. Mm-hmm. I think that's a mistake.
Okay, look, I know that nobody likes it. Like, this stinks, right? But you have to look at it from what would have happened had they not done something like this. Because if you just open up the gates and it's first come, first serve, it would have been bedlam. You would have had 10,000 people every single day on that campus trying to get autographs from Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. People would have been upset.
Just because of the caliber of the team. Because this used to work. It was a formula that worked for the daytime practices. There were no tickets required, and anybody who wanted to go could go.
But you say used to. This is the first time since they've been here. I mean, 1999, where you have legitimate National Football League star power, not just one person, right? It's not just Doug Flutie causing a fervor. There are five top-flight NFL national name recognition players, talent on this roster right now. I mean, look at what it is with the tickets. It's complete bedlam. It sounds like when those guys run out of the tunnel for practice, it's a game day atmosphere, and that's with a limited amount. It would have been nuts. It stinks. They had no choice but to do it this way.
This is the price of fame. This is what you want. This is what you want. The excitement, the lottery of possibly, maybe they do a lottery, the lottery of being in an environment that's got this much energy with the hopes of going all the way. This is what you really want in this moment. Now, I understand it's not going to be fair. There have been blue blood Bills fans for generations that will not be able to be a part of this, hence why I would do sort of a lottery. But they're going to have to milk every bit of the fame of this team going forward. I'm sorry, you just can't walk in there anymore.
I just feel for the guy. Like, I got a friend who's like, big Bills fan, you know, typical guy, doesn't have season tickets, but, you know, he's such a Bills fan that he had Mitch Trubisky on his fantasy team just cuz. And if he didn't know somebody with a season ticket, he was dying to go into practice. We hooked him up, and he got in, and he had a great time, but that's the kind of guy that gets shut out.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I'm with you. I'm all about the folks that have been there this whole time. But look, this is just the beginning, right? This is a precursor to, we got this new stadium coming. You're cutting 10,000 seats out of it, and the prices are going to explode, right? Like, being a football fan in Western New York, being a Bills fan specifically, is about to be an entirely different monster. And this is why I understand you got to get rid of the stadium and you got to build something new. That's why I was holding out for as long as I could, because I've been a season ticket holder for over 10 years now. My family has had season tickets since 1988. There's a price for me. And if you hit that price, as much as it's going to break my heart, I just can't do it.
Which is why I think you have to go back to a lottery. To Duffy's point, to everybody's point here, there are going to be fans that are priced out of this range, especially with the economy the way it is and inflation the way it is and the new stadium on the way. So there's got to be something to sort of parallel and make it possible where the Bills get a profit out of this. They get to milk the popularity of the team. But people who have been there their entire lives waiting for these moments, I mean, decades waiting for the Bills to be relevant, get a chance to enjoy it.
No, Tariq, you're right. If there's one thing we've learned over and over again in professional sports, it's that billionaire owners definitely consider the diehard fans when they make moves that could put money in their pocket. Over and over again, we've seen it happen, right? Can you name a single example of that ever happening, even with the Pagulas being Western New York natives? I mean, it's not going to happen.
Why can't the Bills be the first?
It's not going to happen because they're a small market team. That's why.
We have begun to talk about personal seat licenses, which is, you know, that's a topic for another day.
Not today,
Our
please.
Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not, it's next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Have I got a great getaway for you and the whole family? It's inexpensive and nearby. Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. Look for the Getaway Guy on Facebook. The Getaway Guy on Facebook. It's a great road trip just for you.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
All right, well, training camp is here, of course, and I just have to do an appreciation to the Bills keeping camp at St. John Fisher. It's the 16th year. Growing up, I always went to training camp watching the Giants in Albany at SUNY Albany. I went with my dad, my family, getting to see the players up close and personal. It was so much fun, and it really fostered my love of football from such a young age. And I think it's great that Fisher has the fans that are able to come in. The Bills are there, and it just makes that experience of getting to know the team in that different light of, being in Rochester here a great experience. So I know it's the 16th year of getting it done, and I just have to applaud both the Bills and Fisher for continuing that friendship.
It beat the 4-hour round trip to Fredonia and back, right?
Yeah, it's a much different experience.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Tariq, like it or not, we got the odds for MVP race came out. Josh Allen is right up there.
Yeah.
With the money, I sent you guys values. You got a value pick for the MVP race?
Yeah, you think I'm crazy. Derek Carr. I think
You're crazy.
I know. Devontae Adams. You think I'm crazy now? You think I'm crazy with the way that team has played every single year and been working to get to this point? I think if you're looking to make a gamble, just a gamble, I would think Josh Allen would be a favorite to win MVP. But you're not going to make a lot of money on that. For Derek Carr, he's worth it. Running backs, I get it. Henry and Taylor. I don't like to really go with running backs. They get hit every play. There's no chance of that. Rodgers, I don't think he'll win it again. Some people argue he shouldn't have won it last year. I'm thinking that if you're going to make a play, if you're going to make a shot at it, Derek Carr.
No. He's at a plus 2,000 on Vegas. So you get 2,000 for a $100 bet. Allen, by comparison, is on top at a plus 700. Who do you like?
Okay. Real quick, I don't get the Derek Carr stuff. I never understood the Derek Carr stuff. His career is very confusing to me. Look, I agree with Tariq on this.
There's a clear path there, though. I mean, if the Raiders succeed...
They're in the hardest division in the NFL by far.
It's
And been there for the last 3 years and been competitive, and now you have a wide receiver with your quarterback.
Okay, great. And
Okay, great.
look,
The MVP of the Packers was like, I'd like to keep this guy, and they couldn't.
and he won an MVP without him, too.
Great.
Multiple MVPs without him.
That's
Look,
great.
I agree with Tariq that if you want to straight up win, Josh Allen's your guy. And look, it's still decent money at plus 750. Yeah. The value pick is Dak Prescott in Dallas at plus 1,600.
Oh my
and here
God.
is why. Super winnable division when it comes to experience. They have lost pieces. If Dallas is going to be successful, it all has to come from Dak Prescott. He's a year away from that injury that kept him from being mobile last year. You could be looking at a serious bounce-back season. If I'm going to put money on a value player, it's Dak Prescott. America's team always gets the benefit of the doubt. They're going to be playing national television games all season long. It's Dak Prescott.
America's team. The Patriots are America's team, and they lost that title 2 years ago. You mean to tell me you're going to put everything on the Dallas Cowboys, even though they have not been able to make the playoffs or any successful run?
When it comes to a value MVP pick, it is much smarter to put the money on Dak Prescott with the clout that follows Dallas than it is Derek Carr and the every year. This is the year he's going to show you. This is the year he's going to show you. He's running out of years, man.
I think Lamar Jackson's got sort of a clear path too. For the money we got, bounce back year, I might look that way.
I did find it strange that he was plus 2,000 because I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan, right? Yeah. I mean, and he is playing on his contract year, like you said. There must be something Vegas knows that we don't, why he's such long odds to win that MVP.
He's got to play. He didn't play well last year, didn't play much last year. There's some question marks about this contract. I think he's taking a bit of a gamble, especially with football and guys getting hit all the time.
Hey, like it or not, quickly, we got a couple of brand new color-schemed helmets in the NFL and a new jersey with the Detroit Pistons in the NBA. What do you think of these things?
Okay, I love the Pistons teal jersey. Am I the only one who I love? I'll be going to get a beef stew, Rock's own Pistons teal jersey coming up soon. The one NFL, first, I don't get the black for black's sake, just black for being black helmets, right? Like, oh, this one's black, no, this one's black. The most ridiculous one was the Bears orange helmet. Like, you have the most iconic, arguably, uniforms in the NFL. And you made them look like creamsicles. Absolute creamsicles. And the funniest part is they had like pictures of players like looking at the helmets, and they could only use two where the guys were like, wow, because everyone else was like, when are the Bills bringing back the red helmets? Can we ask that?
I like the red helmets.
I would like to see the return of the red helmet.
My favorite is still the red buffalo on the white helmet.
Oh, right, yeah, when Ralph Wilson was too cheap. Oh, you say red buffalo on the white
On the
helmet.
white helmet.
I like the white buffalo on the red helmet during the throwback season in '94 when Ralph Wilson refused to pay for new helmets for one game.
Just get back to red helmet.
You will not invest in this discussion. Our Like It or Not segment brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Unfinished Business is brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Greg will meet or beat any competitor's price and can finance you with 0 down. Call today or visit gregtheroofer.com. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg today.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business, and Pat starts.
You know, with the Bills not being as great the last, 20 years, we missed out on a lot of things being Bills fans up close and personal. Like the Bills are back here in Rochester, which is great. And they're back with legitimate stars, like we talked about before. And with legitimate stars comes things that you've never seen before. For example, Stephon Diggs, legitimate star, has a Lamborghini that he got stuck in a snowy parking lot in Buffalo during the winter last year. He knows he can buy like an SUV to drive in the wintertime. Nobody will stop him. But my favorite by far, Von Miller, new Bills defensive end, signed a massive contract. Do you know that Von Miller has diamonds surgically implanted into his molars? No, I'm not making that up. And we know this because he was smiling when he took a selfie with a fan of his, and you could see, bling, 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 3 diamonds surgically implanted. He has them. Odell Beckham Jr. has them. DK Metcalf out in Seattle has them. Odell Beckham Jr. has 13 carats worth of diamonds worth $1.8 million permanently affixed to his teeth. Sure, I want the team to be good. And yeah, I want to see a Super Bowl trophy. But the thing I love the most about training camp so far this year, the extreme stuff you get when really great players who have more money than they know what to do with show up in your own backyard. Go see Von, have him smile at you. Make sure your sunglasses are on.
I simply don't understand how the news about Kyler Murray having to study film tape even got into the news. Listen, the Cardinals paid him the money. The Cardinals want him on the team. He is the franchise quarterback. They've played well under his very short tenure. But why release this bit of information? It makes me wonder whether or not this even is relevant. See, what's going to happen over the next couple of seasons is Kyler Murray's contract will be evaluated every year, how far the Cardinals will go, and that will determine the value of how much he pays, not how much film he watched or didn't watch. So it's based on the results of the player. The story is just basically put out there for the media who doesn't like Kyler Murray, which is fine. You can not like Kyler Murray, but destroying his chances for them to be successful by putting out the fact that he doesn't study film isn't going to determine whether or not they win or lose games. If they win games, is it because he studied film? If he loses games, is it because he didn't study film or he did study film? It doesn't matter. It's winning and losing games that matter, not whether or not he studied film. If he doesn't study film and they win, what do you say then?
What's your favorite sport? I get asked that a lot. In television, you have to be everything to everybody. On the air, you have to project the same amount of enthusiasm for fishing derby results as you do about an NFL playoff game. It's not like that for what once passed as print journalists or self-appointed internet experts. They have beats, specific areas of expertise. We expect them to know or care about nothing else, and they generally don't disappoint. Still, I have a difficult time differentiating the things that I enjoy best. The everydayness of the baseball season, which begins in the innocence of spring training and then grinds its way into the upcoming trade deadline where things get serious for the teams that really care. Just in time for the NFL football training camps to open in what is statistically the hottest week of the year. The two sports vie for attention into October, which is often rated the best month of the year for sports, the World Series, serious football, before the weather separates the hardcores and the hardcore towns. And then the NFL clears the deck, and it's all we care about for the next 3 months. There's only about a 2-week window in mid-February where neither football nor baseball is played. Sports Illustrated used to fill that gap with the swimsuit issue. Not now so much. Over the course of the year, the Masters, the NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup, Daytona, Wimbledon, and the Kentucky Derby, they all have roles to play, all part of what I've come to enjoy the most, the rhythm of the sports calendar year where everything matters most in its own time. And we're now in one of those transition periods where it's some of the most fun times.
There's no time off now. I think that everything, the time off is all the trades that are possible with NBA, Major League Baseball, even hockey.
Doesn't it figure? I finally get my bathing suit body, and they start to do away with the swimsuit issue at Sports Illustrated.
And you were ready.
You guys
You were so ready.
You could have said you knew me back when.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't do that. And we'll see you next week on the Rochester Press Box.